Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and welcome back to another Let's Watch of Death Battle. Today's episode, we got a very stupid one, and I mean that in the best way possible. It is Among Us versus Fall Guys. The crewmate slash imposter from Among Us versus the beans from Fall Guys. I mean, they're both beans, but shut up. Okay, well anyways, as always, there should be a link in the description below. Go watch the actual episode yourself. Go support the official release before watching some random guy on YouTube react to it, okay? Got it? Cool. So Among Us and Fall Guys. This is a matchup that's, that I think people were like, what? When it was announced. But sure enough, it is here. Both games very popular during the time when the world turned into bricks. If anybody gets that reference, you a real one. So what's my experience with both games? Well, I too played Among Us during the world turning into bricks. I have videos to prove it. I have videos of me playing Among Us to prove it, with more potentially coming, and I say potentially not as a tease, but in a sense of, I actually don't know if they're going to get uploaded, because I'm really bad when it comes to making videos that aren't Death Battle related. But hopefully, because we got some good stuff a couple weeks ago. And okay, gonna be blunt, I have over like 200 hours put into Among Us on Steam alone. I played like one session on my PS4 when my computer decided to shit itself. If anybody remembers that. Yeah. As for Fall Guys, I started playing it last week, to be honest with you. Fall Guys was always a game that was on my radar, and I wanted to play it, but never really found either the time, the group, or the motivation to do it. This episode provided me with the opportunity, and it was definitely fun. I don't know if I don't know when or if I will ever go back to the game again, but it was definitely fun. It's just one of those games where it's like, when you're actually playing it, it is a lot of fun to do. Like it is a very fun game to play. It's just working up the drive to actually want to play it when you're not playing it is it can be tough. In a sense, that's kind of how I feel about Multiverses 2, as a complete side note. I don't know where that came from, but because that's not relevant to this episode at all. I will admit I have grown, I don't want to say tired of Among Us, because that's definitely not true. But, I'm not as passionate about it as I used to be. You know, uploading, like, where are we at now? Like 6 or 7 videos on it. Definitely not as passionate about it anymore, but it's still something I wish we played more often. I say played as if we're never gonna play it again, which is probably not true. Yeah. Now as for, you know, you see the shit on screen if I decide to put it there, because I didn't for Bowser versus Eggman. But I had an excuse. I had a friend with me on that one. So who do I want to win? Who do I think is going to win? Well, to be quite honest, I'm kind of okay with whatever. This is one of those like weirder fights that I don't think I'm going to get too like worked up over whoever wins. But obviously if I had to pick one, which, I do, I'm obviously going to go with Among Us. I want Among Us to win. Am I gonna be super pissed off if they don't? Not really. As for who I think is going to win, to be quite honest, I'm not sure. Because this is a fight that we are going in pretty blind. We got the 2 previews, we got the fight preview, but like none of them really gave off any indication of really what this fight is. Like what are we doing here? Like, is it just the base games? Are we doing crossovers? I know the Fall Guys preview had a feat from Fortnite, and then like a scan of a bio from Final Fantasy, I think it's 14. So like obviously crossovers are being factored in some way, but to what degree, right? And then like, what is the fight? Because the fight preview was a bunch of crewmates and Fall Guys in the Skeld, and an imposter takes out a crewmate, and the Fall Guys do freaking nothing. Like the preview was very much Among Us centered. The Fall Guys were just kind of there. So like, what are we doing here? But it sounds like, so I went with Among Us for the podcast, and I still stand by a lot of what I said there, just based on the info I had at the time. The common consensus appears to be that Fall Guys probably takes this. But I think this fight is so weird that I just don't know how much faith to put in really much of anything, really. So I'm going to stick with my initial judgment from the podcast, and I'm going to go with Among Us. But if the analysis gives me something that completely sways me to Fall Guys, then all right, fair enough. Because like I said, quite honestly, of all the fights we've had this year, even though I do very much like this matchup and I do very much like both games, this is probably the one that I care the least amount about who wins going into it. Like for Omni-Man versus Bardock, I wanted Omni-Man to win, but I was so certain that Bardock was going to take it. So when he didn't, I was very surprised. For Joker versus Giorno, I wanted Joker to win, even though I prefer Giorno, and I thought, yeah, he probably can take this, but I was still kind of like unsure of myself, no matter what I said, really. But I wanted Joker to win because like Gold Experience Requiem victory just off that alone is kind of lame. And then Bowser vs. Eggman, I'm a huge Sonic fan, so I naturally wanted Eggman to win, even though technically I do prefer Bowser. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm just trying to. The point I'm trying to make is that this is the fight that I care the least about who wins going into it. So I do want Among Us to win, and I'm gonna kind of go with that for now. But if Fall Guys wins, then sorry. So with that being said, I am still very excited for this fight because it is going to be so stupid in the best way possible. So with that being said, I'm going to shut up and let's hit play.
This battle is sponsored by Marvel Snap. The year was 2020. The long wait as we all experienced the most viral sensation in recent years. It was Among Us.
Nah, Fall Guys was the biggest news that year. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
All right, this is going to be fun.
In the lonely dark of space, aboard a malfunctioning vessel, a peculiar crew of bean-shaped astronauts must work together to save their souls from a quiet demise.
Tons of stuff could go wrong at any moment, and it's up to these colorful clowns to fix it. Impressive, since their spacesuits don't seem to have any arms.
Oh, that's not actually a suit, that's just how they are.
Wait, what? Ew, why?
More on that later. The tasks they undertake to save their
Reportedly
ship
good friends with Fall
require
Guys.
degrees of difficulty.
Is that a Twitter
and
reference?
skill. It may not take much to reconnect some wires in the
Because
cafeteria,
that's true.
but it certainly does to clear asteroids.
I like
when
how
the
they
ship is
like and
moving
dislike.
faster than light.
I'm not
If
saying it.
that's
Screw that.
not a suit, then why do they have a cafeteria when they don't have a mouth?
At any point, these creatures must draw from medical training, electrical skills, and mechanical know-how.
Okay, but it's total chaos, so teamwork is key. They gotta spread out and trust that while they're all swiping cards, they have each other's backs. right?
Well, success is always uncertain, as though fate has placed some external force that stands between this species and their survival.
There's an imposter among them. I mean, among us, but not us, though, right, Wiz? Right?
For the 9th time, I'm not an imposter.
That's just what an imposter would say. They're shape-shifting aliens.
Though
They
imposters
could
can
be anyone,
shapeshift, they do not
or
appear to
any
gain any
mad
unique abilities of
scientist
creatures
in a
they
lab
impersonate.
coat.
The imposter
okay.
threatens the pack and pushes them towards extinction by any means necessary. Anything from damaging lights to wrecking the ship's reactor.
Which
Ghosts
can
can't
be
affect the
tricky to
physical
fix in
world.
time,
Okay,
even
that's
though
interesting to know.
imposters are naturally skilled at crawling through the vents. The crewmates need special engineer training to do the same, so not all of them can McLean it up.
All while the imposters conceal their motivations and infiltrate the herd. The others always know something isn't right, and the imposters use that paranoia to motivate their prey into ejecting each other into space. Just for being kinda sus.
So they're keeping
Wiz is
this,
the
okay.
imposter.
He does seem to know an
I thought this
awful
was
lot
just gonna be a
about
preview
these
thing, but
aliens.
this is cool.
And just to put it out there, it isn't me.
That's a good point. Have you ever heard him say sus?
No, what do you mean? Knowing a lot is literally my job.
I can kill.
Okay, hi, dummy.
Jeez, fix your mic, dummy.
I agree with the metal bowling ball.
Well, I knew the sussy baka from the start.
damn
And
it.
again, just to be very clear, it isn't me.
Same here.
Oh, come on. Anyone could be the imposter, Boomstick. It's completely random.
Random starts with R and so does. Oh, I know who it is. It's always the red one.
Wait, what? But it isn't me. It isn't me.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Oh, right. There's usually 2 imposters.
Dear God.
The imposters aren't just tricksters, they're also hunters, bloodhounds tracking and assassinating crewmates when they least expect it.
They'll snap their necks, stab them with a knife, shoot them with a desert eagle, or use their frickin' tongues to impale their faces. Oh, God! Right through the visor.
They may look like they're wearing spacesuits, but that's not a visor. That is their actual face. Examining their cross-section reveals their insides always match the color of their bodies, and that they are comprised of exactly one large bone, which must mean their ability to walk is entirely muscle-based. Their whole anatomy is one unsolvable mystery.
Ew! They've got human toes, buff arms for no reason, and can stretch like Mr. Fantastic? What are these freaky things?
No one knows. They don't even exist within the same realm of mortality as you or I. Even if one of them is killed or ejected into the lifeless void of space, they return as a ghost, invisible, incorporeal, unable to communicate with the living, but nonetheless still among us.
Even beyond death, they can plot the demise of other crew.
Or become guardian angels for the living by literally shielding them.
That's gotta be one tough shield, because remember that Desert Eagle they holster? Apparently, that thing also fires
Oh,
lasers
okay.
that can rip apart whole planets. Good God! To split this planet apart like that would need over 10 non-million tons of TNT.
A number so incomprehensible you'd have to multiply 1 billion by 1 billion. Twice.
More than enough to annihilate Earth over 160 million times. Which seems like
Not an
overkill for
imposter.
the, space vampires they were fighting.
Right, the crew has crossed over with a variety of other universes. Fortnite, Vampire Survivors, Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, the classics.
Including this Henry Stickmin guy. Apparently, he's a kleptomaniac with a surprisingly wide and wacky
We are really
arsenal
going
all
into
the
it.
crew can have.
Desert Eagle-eyed crewmates will find Henry's weapons throughout the ship, like a banana bomb, a teleporter, a ninja star, and a magic pencil that can bring drawings to life.
These creepy Teletubbies can sketch whatever they want into existence, and they're suddenly everywhere I look now. Where's these little trash can people are freaking me out?
In a strange way, all of this makes sense for this fascinating species. In the face of insurmountable odds, something
The reason you
inside
know what
tells
sus
them
is.
to
Yeah,
band
it's true.
together no matter what. To use
A
all
McDonald's
the
chicken
tools
nugget shaped
available
like a
and try to
crewmate sold
survive
for
again and
what?
again, on a ship, on strange planets, anywhere they may be, in spite of anything that may be going on in the world. They either fix what's broken or face certain doom. But no matter what, they do it together.
Together! Yeah! Ooh! Welcome to the bright, colorful world
All right.
of the Blunder natural habitat to these lovable little beans known as the Fall Guys, who race each other
Complete
through fun
tone shift,
playgrounds
by the way.
under clear skies above.
These lively obstacle courses showcase their inherent skills and abilities. As if drawn by natural instinct, they hurdle over barriers together and pass through various tests of strength, agility, and mental fortitude.
And it's pretty impressive considering how elaborate these bounce house courses get. How
Yeah.
do these weebles wobble through it?
With a shocking level of innate parkour mastery that otherwise hasn't been seen since 2006. But honestly, not many of the beans.
Wait, half on Mike
make it,
Wazowski?
and only one can be crowned the winner before everything starts all over again.
Which makes for some very friendly competition. Like
Yeah.
survival of the fittest, but for a bunch of candy grimaces. They'll grab, shove, and slam into each other to make it out on top. Or even roll up into a ball and launch across the course. Self-preservation be damned.
And over time, the beans have evolved to higher levels of, let's call it imagination. The engineer Digi invented the creative device so the beans could start making and designing new obstacles and challenges for themselves, as well as additional tools like wrecking balls, wind-up boxes for punching foes,
that,
and even
creative
translators
thing
that
get
make their
sabotaged?
nonsensical language intelligible.
But even at their best, they're still just flinging themselves over these obstacles like a bunch of drunken lemmings.
This species seems to have a biological urge to navigate these courses for one singular purpose: get that crown.
I mean, if I could be king for a day, I'd push you off a cliff right now.
Very funny. Get away from me.
Things in the Blunder Dome can get wild. We've seen these goobers get smacked by giant mallets and fall into actual hot lava, but they always pop back up at the qualification stage later, completely unharmed. Somehow.
These remarkable creatures have demonstrated some dumbfounding durability, such as getting struck by meteors. That's a hit anywhere from 18 tons of TNT to 15 kilotons. But they still get right back up to Rube Goldberg themselves straight through another obstacle course.
On top of that, they were hit with the Big Bang and came out the other side completely fine. Whoa, wait, what? Did I just say the Big Bang? Why do we even mention the meteor?
That-
Who cares?
there has to be
Their
a catch
suits
to
are
that, right?
basically indestructible.
Boomstick, I hate to tell you this.
No,
Those aren't really.
don't say it.
Those aren't actually suits. That's their skin.
Oh, man. People were getting weird back in 2020. Didn't they have better things
True.
to do?
With only arms, legs, and eyes, there must be some genetic mechanism inside the beans that causes them to be self-sustaining. Though after some dissection, it's unclear. This is an official image, by the way.
I don't know what's
Yep.
more upsetting, that skeleton or the fact that these jelly beans are 6 friggin' feet tall.
Imagine bumping into this thing in a dark
Yeah, they
alleyway.
pretty big.
No, thank you.
So, this means when you start the game, you're just flat out naked? Just swinging away, beans in the wind.
Strange such nakedness
Stop.
would be allowed, considering what's actually happening is the Fall Guys are contestants in a non-stop 24/7 game show, the ultimate knockout. Yeah, that's what's actually happening here. So what might be misconstrued as some sort of migration cycle is really a brutal, never-ending gauntlet that takes advantage of their tunnel vision.
So, it's like the Truman Show mixed with Wipeout and Naked and Afraid. What happened to them being just colorful cartoon beans?
And they survive to keep playing the game no matter what.
Won
The
5
game
crowns
said
in a
that
row.
when the
Trust us,
beans
it's
fall
harder
to
than
their
it
death,
seems.
They feel a moment of displacement, serenity, zen-like detachment from all worldly and physical bonds. Then they pop back onto the podium to celebrate their achievements. That's an official quote.
They've also said they're strong enough to rip someone in half and can stretch their bodies so far they pass beyond the observable universe.
Oh god, the
Oh,
Twitter
okay.
feats.
Oh yeah! January 18th, 2022, 9:14 a.m. The Fall Guy stretched so far, he exited the universe as we know it, and then he kept going.
Speaking of universes, the Fall Guys have seen dozens of guest stars from other stories and have learned from their cultures, like flying around in the TARDIS of Doctor Who fame, wielding He-Man's
Analysis only
power
includes
sword,
relevant abilities and
launching
equipment
Ryu's
that
iconic
have clearly
Hadouken,
shown they can
or even
use
just
or interact
becoming
with those skills.
Pac-Man.
Okay.
They just become Pac-Man. They're Pac-Man now.
Wiz, I know we've seen some crazy things on the show, but these 6 feet tall jelly bean monsters eat
Was that-
food through their feet. What are we about to rot upon the world? Is this cute and colorful reality an endless void of darkness and despair? Revelations of disturbances too catastrophic for the human mind to process? A vicious cycle on this blue marble surrounded by mouthless, dead-eyed beans.
Pretty much.
Ah, cool, let's see them fight.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Pause. Okay, we need to talk about this. I think I'm gonna go with Fall Guys. So the Vampire Survivors feat was definitely fun. Them splitting a planet apart, that was fun. But if we're talking about stuff like surviving the Big Bang and stretching beyond the universe, I don't see how Among Us is competing with that. It's kind of weird. Maybe I am misunderstanding the situation. That's 100,000% possible. But it feels kind of weird that we are going into crossover equipment for Fall Guys, like crossover equipment and Twitter feats for Fall Guys and not Among Us, because I feel like Among Us has some shit in Twitter too. I don't know. Again, maybe I missed something in one of the sidebars or the black boxes or whatever, but that's definitely something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on, and if there's nothing, then I'll just have to ask about it in chats or whatever. Again, I don't really care one way or the other. I'm just curious. But yeah, that seems like a pretty solid Fall Guys victory. That's basically what it's sounding like to me. But hey, you never know. This fight gets freaking weird, I imagine. So I'm just gonna shut up and hit play, and we'll see what happens. There are imposters among us. Let's see what's going on here. We got the Among Us HUD. That's fun. We didn't have that in the preview, I don't think. Alright, later. Y'all are dead. Oh. Everyone was ejected? Why? Okay. And now we're in Fall Guys. Okay. Oh, White's dead. What is happening here? Oh my god. Stop. Oof. Oh. Well, that was rude. Fall Guys have okay. So that was right. Ow. Why would you do that? Among Us, the imposters and crewmates are kind of getting their asses kicked. A teleporter? Dude, what's going on? I guess Among Us is getting a lot of Henry Stickmin stuff. Alright, fair enough. Just ditch their weapons, I guess. Okay. god. Nope. Oh my god! Oh my god. Okay. Damn.
Oh, when's the next episode? This is my new favorite show. Move over, chimp crazy.
We broke this down into 3 categories: offense, defense, and the bizarre. Let's start with offense.
I mean, the bogus among us could blow up planets, not to mention moving faster than light to hit all those planets in one shot. It's kinda out there, but no Fall Guy has ever done anything like that. The crewmates clearly get the edge in offense.
Right.
Impressive power matters less when we look at defense.
It's
That's
crazy
Fall
how
Guys,
much
yeah.
damage the Fall Guys can walk off. They survived anything their course threw at them, took hits from meteors, and most importantly, survived the Big Bang. You know, the explosion that blew the whole frickin' universe into existence. Easy edge for the bumbling beans.
We can even go a step further. Both of these creatures have demonstrated various forms of invulnerability and death negation, like how the Fall Guys could always pop back up for another round, or how the crewmates became ghosts when they die. However, only the Fall Guys had a viable counter. Only the Fall Guys could ensure that their foe stays dead.
Pac-Man, they can become Pac-Man.
That's true.
You know, eats ghosts.
Brilliant.
Which leads us to the truly bizarre stuff about both of these beanie freaks.
They could both stretch their bodies to absurd lengths, but only the Fall Guys stretch beyond the observable universe in a matter of minutes. In fact, if we take these posting times literally, that would mean the Fall Guys can stretch at speeds over a quadrillion times faster than light.
I don't know, Wiz. That feels like a bit of a stretch. Wink.
The crewmates did have
Stop.
plenty of answers to the Fall Guys' hijinks, like a magic pencil sword to fight off He-Man's power sword, or how they could potentially hack Digi's creations.
But the overwhelming amount of stuff that the Fall Guys have access to just dwarfs the Among Us crew's arsenal. I mean, Hadoukens, TARDIS, just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, the spaceship crew had a few deadlier weapons among them, but the Fallen Guys had too many options that could not be countered.
The crewmates may have been
I was wondering if
cunning
they'd bring
and
up
dangerous,
how
but the
Innersloth has
one-track
died
minded
no
Fall
faith in
Guys
them.
just wouldn't go down.
Making sure the losers of this fight were no longer Among Us.
Oh no, we never found the second imposter!
Ah, damn it, I knew that stupid robot was sus.
Sigh. So embarrassing.
The winner is the Fall Guys. And me.
Okay.
Next time on
Oh.
Death Battle.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah, Kratos versus Asura.
Subscribe and join as a member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
Hope you enjoyed the episode, but the battle's not over because Sam and I are going
Oh,
head-to-head in
okay,
Fall Guys,
yeah.
maybe some Among Us, live on the Death Battle YouTube channel right now and Twitch. Hope to see you there.
All right, well, that was that. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know, it was Kratos versus Asura. That fight's gonna be sick. So yeah, well, go figure. That is our premiere episode of 2025. I wonder when that's coming out. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm not like a super massive fan of either series really. But they look cool enough. And I know full well that both of them get up to some pretty crazy shit. So this fight's gonna be insane, and I can't wait for it. And it's just cool that Kratos is back. His first episode was way back in season 1. And wasn't that great. Let's be honest with ourselves. Excuse me. But yeah, no real comment on that. That's gonna be it's gonna be cool, and that's about all I got. For this fight, that was wild. There was so much happening on screen, and it definitely played into both games fairly well. I do think Fall Guys got a bit more. I don't know. It kind of like for a while it kind of felt like the Among Us characters were kind of getting their asses kicked, but what can you do, really? I mean, by the end, when they were out in space and whatnot, a bunch of them were getting vaporized and whatnot, so yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't really know what more you want me to say. It was a dope fight. Impressive that like I know like there was quite a bit of sprite work in there, but most of that fight was hand drawn, and it's kind of amazing that we're getting that coming off of Bowser versus Eggman. They are not skipping out on anything for this new era of Death Battle, and I am all here for it. I mean, we're going from Bowser versus Eggman to this to Kratos versus Asura, so it's like so yeah. I mean, I don't know what more you want me to say. The ending was kind of brutal. Like there was so much like I know Among Us can get like Among Us kills can get kind of brutal here and there, but nothing like that. God. Yeah, I don't really know what more I can say. It was a really cool fight, and I am glad that they finally managed to do it. And I'm definitely looking forward to Kratos vs. Asura, so yeah, we're doing good. All right, well, in that regard, I'm going to go ahead and get going. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.